Solo: A Star Wars Story has arrived in theaters, and it finally answers all sorts of questions fans have been asking for decades. Like how Han and Chewie first met, how Han really won the Millennium Falcon from Lando, and what really happened during the infamous Kessel Run. But for every long-held Star Wars riddle the film answered, it may have actually posed even more new questions. Here's a spoiler-filled look at the biggest unanswered questions in Solo: A Star Wars Story. What's Qi'ra hiding? When Han is finally reunited with his long-lost love, Qi'ra, it should be a joyous occasion, but it isn't, because Qi'ra is clearly hiding something, or many things, from her one-time boyfriend. The question is, what exactly is she hiding? It's telling that when Han asks her how she got out, she says she never did. Between her comments about owing the Crimson Dawn a major debt and Tobias Beckett's frequent hints that Qi'ra has done unspeakable things, it's clear there's a lot more to her story. But until and unless we get a sequel, it seems we'll just have to wonder exactly what Qi'ra had to do to get off Corellia that has her so indebted to a guy like Darth Maul. Speaking of which, wait, Darth Maul? Probably the most shocking moment in Solo was the surprise reveal that Darth Maul was the head honcho of the evil Crimson Dawn crime syndicate. Part of the reason it was such a surprise is that the last time moviegoers saw Maul, he had just been literally chopped in half in 1999's The Phantom Menace. Apparently, he got better, something fans of the Star Wars cartoons already knew. In Clone Wars and Rebels, it was established that he used the Force to survive his bisecting, got some robot legs, and eventually ended his life in a very brief and poorly thought-out attempt to get revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi. So what does Maul's appearance mean for any possible Solo sequels? Are we going to see a throwdown between Maul and Han? Is Qi'ra going to become Maul's apprentice? We can't wait to find out. What about the Wookiees? After Chewbacca is rescued from slavery, he explains in a heartbreaking sequence that all the Wookiees were enslaved and driven from their home world, and he's on a quest to find them. But when he does finally meet some of his fellow Wookiees, after helping them escape from bondage, he just kinda leaves. That opens up all sorts of questions. Who exactly are these other Wookiees? Fans had speculated that they might be his wife Mala and his son Lumpy, first seen in the 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special, but since there are no subtitles, we don't actually find out whether or not they're Chewie's family, his tribe, or just some fuzzy randos. So where do they go, and what happens to them when Chewbacca leaves? Why does Chewie decide to stick with Han instead of his people? What role do the Wookiees play going forward? We've got a lot of questions about the Wookiees, but so far, only Chewie knows the answer. And if he's telling us, we sure don't understand it.
That's yes.
What happened to L3? Arguably the biggest breakout character in Solo is Lando's first mate, navigator, and possible love interest, L337. So when L3 tragically dies during the slave uprising she incited, it's both moving and oddly triumphant. And then they take part of her brain and upload it into the Millennium Falcon, with Lando declaring she's now part of the ship. So that leaves us with a bunch of questions. Does this mean L3 is actually in the Falcon throughout the rest of the Star Wars series? Is it possible that at some point between Solo and A New Hope, Lando and the gang are able to extract L3's consciousness from the Falcon and give her a body again? Maybe even a human body in the form of Lando's cyborg partner Lobot? And considering her entire deal was trying to free droids from subservience, isn't it really unfortunate that she ends up just being turned into a mindless tool? Here's hoping we get L3 back somehow in the future. Did Enfys Nest start the rebellion? At the end of Solo, Enfys Nest, the leader of the so-called outlaw gang that's been dogging Tobias Beckett throughout the film, tells Han that she's going to use the millions of credits from the stolen shipment of coaxium to fund a rebellion to fight against the Empire. This bombshell seems to suggest that Enfys Nest is actually the founder of the Rebel Alliance. But if Enfys Nest did actually start the rebellion, what happened to her? Could she somehow be related to Rey? And if Han was in on the ground floor of creating the rebellion, how come this never came up before? Like when he later became a rebel general in Return of the Jedi. Here's hoping we get to learn a lot more about Enfys Nest in the future. And speaking of the future, now what? In April of 2018, Solo star Alden Ehrenreich revealed that he was under contract for 3 films, and it seems clear that Solo is setting things up for a trilogy or more. With major plot threads around the Crimson Dawn, Qi'ra, and Darth Maul left dangling, not to mention the fate of L3, the Wookiees, and the birth of the rebellion, Solo seems prepared to fill in the gaps of everything that happened between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. But will Solo actually get a sequel? All of it comes down to how much money Solo makes, meaning the answer to that question, and all the rest, can actually be found right now in your wallet. Thanks for watching. click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.